Hello students, welcome to another video where I shall be teaching you about endocrine systems in human. This is for class 8 biology. Now all of you know that in your body you have different organs, tissues and cells, and they help you to work in a coordinated manner. It is actually your tissues, cells, your organ and the different systems inside you along with the nervous system and the endocrine system that help you to work properly in a coordinated manner. And various processes like breathing, movement, and sensory perception is controlled by the nervous system. But there are certain processes like growth, metabolism, which are controlled by some chemicals in your body. And these chemicals are secreted by the ductless glands. Now, this ductless gland is the endocrine system. So, if it is asked what is the endocrine system, as you can see on the screen, it says the system of ductless glands that regulate the activity of cells and organs by releasing certain chemical messengers into the bloodstream is called endocrine system. Now, there are certain words which you might not be able to understand, like ductless. Duct you can say something like a pipe or a tube. And this endocrine system does not have any such ducts in it. It is regulating the activity of the organs by releasing certain chemical messengers. Now, these chemical messengers are what we call as hormones, and they are directly released into your blood. As you can see the definition of hormones, it says that they are the chemical messengers secreted by the endocrine glands that help to control and coordinate various metabolic activities. So all activities, most of it, are controlled by the hormones secreted by your body. Now these hormones are, as we told, they are directly secreted into the blood stream or the blood. What are the characters of these hormones? Now they are produced in small quantities. They act very fast, but they are slower than the nerve impulses. They act on the particular cells and organs which are located away from their source. Also, they are destroyed soon after their action is over and they don't get stored in the body. They coordinate the long-term processes such as the sexual development, growth. If we talk about the types of glands, there are two kinds. I put up a chart here where we are differentiating. Let me first explain you what are these two glands that we have in our body. As you can see, it is the endocrine gland and the exocrine gland. Now, we are going to discuss about the endocrine gland that is found in your body. Exocrine gland is also found in your body, but this chapter will deal with the endocrine glands. But we need to know the difference of both. Now, by definition, as you can see, endocrine glands are the specialized glands which release their secretion directly into the cells or the surrounding tissues. Now, this word endocrine is actually derived from two Greek words. Endo means within or inside, and crine means secretions. And also, they are called the ductless glands, as you can see. Ductless means they do not have any special ducts, and because of which they are called the ductless glands, and they release the secretion where? Directly into the blood. Also, the chemicals which are released by them, they are called the hormones. And the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, you will be reading about these in this chapter. All are part of the endocrine glands. If you see the exocrine glands, these are the ducts which are releasing the secretion through the duct. These are the glands which release the secretion through the ducts, or what we call it the special tubes. And also their secretions are called enzymes, and they carry the secretions to the target organs. Now we have the salivary glands, gastric gland, sweat glands. These are also found in our body, and as they have the duct, they are called the exocrine gland. Now also you can see one point is response time, is how fast are they acting. Endocrine's response time is the response time of the endocrine glands are slower since the secretion has to be carried out through the blood. Whereas the exocrine glands, they are fast in response because it is being carried by the ducts. Also the duration, as we talked about, the endocrine glands, they control the long-term activities, whereas the exocrine, they are acting on the short-term activities, and already we have discussed the examples. So if we are asked what are the two types of glands, they are the endocrine and the exocrine glands. You can see the definition, ducts, type of secretion, response time, duration of action, and examples in this chart. Moving on, now there are various endocrine glands in the humans like pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, pancreas, adrenal gland, ovaries, and testes. The pituitary gland is a small pea-shaped gland located at the base of the brain just below the hypothalamus. Now the function of this gland is very important. This gland is also called the master gland, children. Why? Because it secretes the growth hormone which controls the working of all the other hormones, as well as it looks into the control which control the overall development and growth of the body, muscles, and the bones. Sometimes you will see that the pituitary gland, it is released very little, or sometimes it's very released in large amount. So what happens if it is in less amount? We say that it is under secreted, which can lead to a condition called dwarfism. Remember children, dwarfism. While its over-secretion, the over-secretion of the pituitary gland can lead to the problem of gigantism, or it's a condition which we call as gigantism. So as you can see the chart, you can understand that pituitary gland, where is the location? At the base of the brain. It's secreting the growth hormone, and what is its function? It's regulating the growth of the body, it's controlling the overall development of your body. Also it is helping in the increase of the protein synthesis rate. Next we talk about the thyroid gland. This is another large endocrine gland which is found in the neck region, just in front of the windpipe. I'm going to show you a diagram. You can see the thyroid gland here. So in this we have two lateral lobes, as you can see in this diagram. Two lateral lobes are there, and they are connected by a mass of tissue, a narrow mass of tissue called the isthmus. These two lateral lobes on either side of the trachea, that they are forming the thyroid gland, they are connected by a narrow mass of tissue called the isthmus. Now they get a rich supply of blood, and also they deliver a large amount of hormones in a very short period at times. Now their function, coming back to this functions list, you can see that it is regulating the metabolic activity of the cell, the cellular metabolism. Also it is regulating the body temperature by energy production. You need to remember here that thyroid gland has two other hormones that it secretes, that is the thyroxine, also calcitonin. The thyroxine controls the speed of cellular metabolism and also the rate at which oxygen is consumed and energy is produced. It also regulates the body temperature, as I told you, by producing energy. And iodine is very important for the production of thyroxine in your body. Sometimes our body does not get the sufficient amount of iodine, which leads to the low thyroxine hormone in our body. So under secretion or less secretion of this thyroxine leads to a problem called hypothyroidism, which makes a person very sleepy and sluggish, which leads to the weight gain. And also it leads to the swelling of the thyroid gland, and a condition called goiter happens, where the neck actually swells up and there is swelling in the neck region. Over-secretion of the thyroxine is called hyperthyroidism, and also that increases the speed of cellular respiration, and the metabolic rate is becoming very fast, leading to the loss of weight in the person. And the other hormone that I told you about, calcitonin, which is also produced by thyroxine gland, it helps to control the calcium levels in the body. Now next we are going to speak about the adrenal gland. There are 2 adrenal glands in our body located on the top of each of our kidneys. Now each gland is having 2 parts. As you can see in this, a cross section of the adrenal gland, where the outer one is called the adrenal cortex and the inner part is the adrenal medulla. Now this adrenal cortex is secreting many hormones, which is helping you in the metabolism of carbohydrate, fats, proteins and such things. The adrenal medulla secretes the 2 major hormones, which is the adrenaline and the noradrenaline, and both these hormones work in coordination. The adrenaline is called the emergency hormone because it prepares the body for the fight or flight situation. Fight means to face the danger and flight means to run away from it. So the adrenal gland, which is secreted by our body, helps us to face the emergency situation. Adrenaline is released when a person is under stress or is involved in intensive workouts or exercise. It makes the heart beat faster, it increases the flow of blood in your body, and also helps to cope up with the emergency situation. Like sometime if you suddenly have to go on a stage and speak, your hands and legs start shaking, you feel nervous, you start sweating, or if you see a tiger in front of you. So that emergency situation is being dealt by the adrenaline. Now moving on to the next gland, that is pancreas, which is again a glandular organ which is located in the abdomen behind the stomach. Now pancreas is both exocrine and endocrine together, and so it is also called the dual gland. Now why is it so? Because it has some components of the exocrine and some components of the endocrine system. Like if you can see this diagram, here you can see the structure of a pancreas, how it is located, and you can see the gallbladder, the common bile duct, and you can see the islets of Langerhans and the adrenal gland on the top of the kidneys. Now the exocrine component of the pancreas is the ducts of Acini, which produce the pancreatic fluid, which contains the digestive enzymes. And the endocrine part is the islets of the Langerhans, which is secreting the insulin hormone. I'm very sure you might have heard the word insulin. The insulin hormone, it regulates the amount of glucose in the blood. And the extra glucose in your body, it is converted into glycogen, and that's done by insulin, and then it is stored in the liver. So extra glucose in your body is converted to glycogen by insulin, and it is stored in the liver. And sometimes insulin is not properly released in some people, which leads to the excess glucose accumulation in the blood, which is excreted from the urea along with the urea. And that condition is then called diabetes mellitus. So you might have heard people who have diabetes, they take the insulin injections, right? So this is the reason. Now coming to the last 2 glands, which are part of the female reproduction, which the ovaries are found in the female, whereas the testes, they are found in the male. And the ovaries produce the two hormones estrogen and progesterone, which are mostly concerned with the reproductive growth and development. The reproductive behavior is developed because of that. And the males contain the testes, which are located in the scrotum, which secretes the hormone testosterone, which is again controlling the reproductive growth and the development and reproductive characters. When we talk about the reproductive organs and the secondary sexual characters, it actually means that deepening of voice is seen in boys. There is growth of facial hair in the bodies of the boys and girls when they grow up, right? All this is because of these hormones which are secreted in our body. The ovaries also, if you remember in the reproduction chapter, you have read about the ovaries and how they're the almond-shaped glands which are found in the lower abdomen, and they are located on both the sides of the uterus, right? And there is they are found just below the opening of the fallopian tubes. They also are responsible for the high-pitched voice which develop in the girls. So this is because of all these hormones, certain characteristics, the growth, the emergency that we are able to express. So finally, if we just have a look at this picture, you can see the major glands of the endocrine system. Now here you can see the ovaries and the testes are both shown in one diagram, but it does not develop in one person. Please remember, this is just a schematic representation showing all the important endocrine glands. Ovaries will be present in the female with the other glands which are marked. Testes will be found in the males along with the other glands which are marked. To sum up, we can say that the pituitary gland, they are the master gland which is lying at the base of the brain, and it is secreting the growth hormone and controlling the function of other glands like thyroid, adrenal, ovaries, etc. Parathyroid gland. This gland is again the parathyroid gland. As you can see here, they contain the 4 small glands which are generally embedded in the posterior part of the thyroid gland. Actually, it's in the back if you see. And also it is secreting the parathyroid hormone, which is called the parathormone, which is again responsible for calcium and phosphorus metabolism. Now, as you can see, the thyroid gland, now you know that it is situated in the neck region or the throat region and secretes the thyroxine, which is necessary for growth and development. Also, you can see the adrenal gland. It produces the stress hormone and it is also helping up to cope with the emergency situations. The pancreas, again, the dual gland, because it has some component of endocrine and some component of the exocrine system. And then we have the male sex hormone secreted by the testes, that is the testosterone is being given out, which is helping and regulating the growth of the reproductive organs and behavior. And in the females we have the ovaries, which are secreting the female hormones, the estrogen and the progesterone, which regulate the growth of the reproductive organs and the behavior. So with this, I'm sure you will get an idea about the different endocrine glands in your body, what is their function, where are they located, and how they help us to keep a body coordinated along with the nervous system. They all work in coordination to make a full organism who is able to do all the work in a coordinated manner. Thank you.